The term rust is used for corrosion or oxidation of iron and steel in presence of water, moisture, and oxygen. When an iron
In recent years, we are all witnessing the terrible impact of global warming on our planet in terms of frequent drought, floods, heat waves, and cyclones. Melting of ice at polar regions and at the Himalayas, along with other scientific evidences, has proved that combustion of fossil fuels is causing global warming and other environment-related problems. The present model of economic growth solely depends upon fossil fuels is the major reason for global warming. The solution is decarbonization of entire energy systems from fossil fuels to renewable sources of energy. As global warming is global in nature, it requires a global coordinated response from all governments, international organizations, civil societies, industries, universities, and citizens. The government must fund research and development programs on renewable energy and incentivize renewable energy sectors, but levy taxes on fossil fuels. The government should switch over electricity production of fossil fuels to renewables like solar, wind, biomass, and hydropower. By making stringent laws, the government can prohibit industries from emitting harmful substances and gases into the environment. Through legislative and administrative actions, government should protect all water bodies, including lakes, rivers, and oceans, from municipal waste and industrial pollution. By adopting innovative energy-saving technology, reducing packaging need, and using recycled water, industry can contain environment-related problems. By playing a role of a conscious keeper, media and civil society can raise awareness regarding environment problems and encourage citizens to adopt an environmentally friendly lifestyle. By conserving energy, using public transport, preferring walking and cycling over motorized vehicles, using energy-saving appliances, and avoiding overpackaged products, citizens can mitigate this problem. Enlightened government with empowered citizens can work together to solve this problem.
The values of the family unit and each family member's personality affect family dynamics and can often be a primary source of conflict. Religious and cultural background and values are often assumed to be a shared experience for members of the same family, particularly in the eyes of a parent. When another family member disagrees with or has life experiences opposed to these standards, it can put a strain on the family dynamics, with the traditionally complying members experiencing disobedience, betrayal, or concern for their well-being. The family member opposing the standards often feels like they are not being listened to, ignored, expected to change. Even after initial conflicts, if any, are resolved, this difference in values will still in some way affect family dynamics. Everyone lives according to values consciously.
We have 5 sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. They help us to see, hear, smell, taste, and feel things around us. Our skin has millions of nerve endings. When we touch something, these nerve endings send signals to our brain. The brain tells you what the object you touched feels.
It's not a bacterial infection that is transmitted person to person. Standing next to someone with cholera, you're probably not going to get it. But if they contaminate water supply, then anyone living around them can get sick. Cholera is a disease caused by a bacteria. It's a bacterial infection. We don't think about it in many places in the United States, but around the developing world, it's a pretty significant disease. It is usually caused by a lack of clean water. That's the biggest problem. If you don't have good sewage, you don't have a good way of getting clean water to people, you get diseases like cholera. When people get cholera, it makes them pretty ill. They actually get the bacteria inside their intestines. It makes them sick to their stomach. They'll get diarrhea. And the bacteria itself a lot of times releases a toxin into the body as well, and that can make people really sick. They become dehydrated. They start to develop low blood pressure, and they can really, really feel this. The most amazing thing about cholera is that to treat it, sometimes you simply just give people water, clean water. Sometimes they get what are called rehydration salts. They take the salt into their body, and it makes sure that fluid is pulled and stays in their body. If someone's really dehydrated, sometimes they'll get IV fluids, and in the most severe cases, they may need antibiotics. But clean water, it's amazing that in many places around the world, just treating cholera with clean water is all it takes.
We're not running out of oil. The first thing one can say with absolute confidence is that we're not about to run out of oil. We're definitely not. But what we are approaching is the end of the first half. And this is one way to describe it. And this chapter in history lasted about 150 years since the first oil was produced. And we're coming to the end of that. And you have to find oil before you can produce it. And when we look back in history, we can find that the peak of discovery was in 1964. And that the discovery of oil has been falling ever since, relentlessly. And it's been falling despite a worldwide search, always aimed at the biggest and best prospects. No one's looking for the smallest and the worst, the biggest and the best. It's been falling despite amazing technological and geological advances. We understand this business so much more than we did. And finally, it's been falling despite a very happy economic environment whereby most of the cost of exploration is written off against tax. So I would say, in view of all of those incentives and all of those benefits, if discovery has actually been falling relentlessly, there is no good reason to think that this trend is going to change direction. So, in other words, we've passed the peak.